Welcome. Our very special guest today is a man who spent, I guess, literally a lifetime in racing, and from a fan to an owner to a trainer to a broadcaster to a board member. If there's something in the game, then this man has done it. And it's my great pleasure to welcome to the show Ray Fewings. Ray, welcome.
Thanks very much, Brenton. I may have done it, but haven't always done it well.
Now, it's not unfair to say a lifetime, is it? I mean, when did racing start for you? What's your first memories?
Right from day one, from my very first memories. My mother tells me that if I went to the Wayville trots in a pusher, they'd park the pusher on the outside fence, and I'd laugh and Google when the horses went around. But the minute they went off the track, I'd start screaming until they came back out again. So I think that there was an imprint there right from the word go.
So the bug was very early, literally in the pram.
Firmly implanted. Plus we had an old place at Sansom Road at Semaphore, which is where a lot of the horse trainers were. And we had this paddock in the backyard, and there was always a horse in there from one of my dad's mates. So there'd be one spelling, or they'd just put it there, and I'd go down and just gaze at the horse from the time I could walk. Yeah.
So it sounds like you were captured and really inspired into the racing game by the animal itself, as opposed to anything else in the theatre of it.
I've thought about that, and I think it's a combination of colour, of noise, of smell, and competition. And I think it's a package that I bought very early on.
What are your first memories of you wanting to be a broadcaster? Obviously, you've heard them on the radio during these periods of time. Is that when you become inspired that that's what you'd like to do? Or?
Pretty sure. I would have been described by the local people, the suburban neighbours, as a nutter, because I would run to school and I would broadcast races as I was running.
Wow.
So the right horse always won. It wasn't a good lesson in life. Yeah, so running all the way to school, broadcasting, and playing football matches by myself on the front lawn, taking high marks and broadcasting at the same time.
So do you have a belief that commentators are born and not made? It sounds as though it was with you very, very early.
Yeah, it was. The earliest time I did it would have been when I was 3, because my mother was pregnant with my brother, and we had an outside loo in those days, and I'd built a track in the sand to race her pegs around this track.
At 3?
At 3, and broadcast it. And one night in the dark, she stumbled out to go to the loo and fell over my track.
Oh, goodness.
And it brought my brother's birth on. So he was born early as a result.
You can
3.
remember all this?
Oh yeah, I can.
It's an extraordinary idea that you move into broadcasting at such an early age. When did you actually get an opportunity, and how did it unfold for you to move into the racing caper?
It probably started when my father and I got involved in the Greyhounds. So we started going to the Waterloo Corner Greyhounds. So there was a race caller there by the name of Michael Hunter. A really interesting bloke. And he was a bit of a man about town. So Sundays wasn't always a great day for him after a big night of a Saturday night. So that's how I got my start. One Sunday he never turned up. And Brian Johnston, the famous administrator, asked around, is there anyone that could broadcast a race? And he had no response. And I said to him, I think I can do it, Mr. Johnston. And he said, oh, we'll see how we go, son. In the end, he gave me a go, and that was the start of it.
What about the Olympics? How many Olympics did you go to?
Only one. I did the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh and the Olympics in South Korea. There's a really funny story about both of them. The ABC had the rights to the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh. So myself and another journalist were sent over but of course we couldn't get in, so we were registered as representing other countries. So I was representing Gibraltar, and my offsider was representing Barbados. And we lined up to get accreditation. He was right behind me, and I got through, and I was welcomed and got all my passes and all that sort of thing. But when he got there to the front of the queue, they announced to him that Barbados had just pulled out of the Olympics. And he was stymied. He didn't know what to do. So he had to work off course. But my cover was blown every night of the swimming, which was the first week. If an Aussie won, Duncan Armstrong was the very first, I'd be there interviewing them, poolside. And the ABC blokes couldn't work out why this bloke from Gibraltar
wanted to talk to the Aussies.
So I succeeded for the first 6 nights, but on the 7th night, when I arrived, there was a call went over the PA at the pool saying, would Mr. Fewings from Gibraltar please report to the office. So I knew I was going to be booted out, and I didn't turn up. And the Olympics, I was representing another country, but I was the only one there for the Macquarie network. It was a great experience.
And what did you do there?
I was reporting.
Yeah.
I actually called the 100 metres from the grandstand
Wow.
to a tape recorder and sent it back. But the good story there, in South Korea, you had to have passes to get anywhere. And I saw this Korean journalist go down a doorway under the grandstand, and I watched him, and he emerged at the side of the track. So I thought, well, I'll get up close, and I followed him. And lo and behold, I've come out 20 or 30 metres past the winning post. And Debbie Flintoff-King
Oh, wow.
was about to run in the, I think it was the 400 hurdles.
That's right.
And the race was run, and she pulled up right alongside me. And I said to her, Ripper, Deb, I reckon you've gone close. She said, do you think so? She said, I couldn't tell. She said, I think I'm round about there. And she's standing alongside me when the number goes up.
Wow.
So it was great.
Is there something that stands out for you throughout your broadcasting career? Is there one or two top things that you look back on with pride?
Been some funny, well, not necessarily pride, but I think calling the Cup Steeple Melbourne Cup Day on course at Flemington, I enjoyed that. But one of the funniest broadcasts I had was at Balaclava one day, where the clerk of the course had been gifted a retired racehorse as a new clerk of the course horse.
Right.
And he stood alongside the barrier stalls, and away they jumped. And I'm calling the race, and it was Happy Lad out in front of Pretty Miss. Clerk of the course running third under a very strong hold, and his horse had bolted, and there he was in the middle of the field trying to get the horse out of the race.
Out of the way.
Yeah.
What, he jumped because he thought he was
The
still
horse
racing?
took off. Yeah, the horse took off. Yeah. Yeah, it was unforgettable. Yeah.
Anything else from the broadcasting career that stands out?
Not really. I mean, there was the time I turned up at Angle Park. I'd been drinking champagne with Bruce McAvaney all afternoon, and turned up unable to perform, and somehow got through the first race, but made the error. Instead of saying stand by for the all clear, I said stand by for a protest. Well, people came from everywhere. Black cups of coffee. But we got through the night, and we survived it.
What does the future hold for you at the moment going forward?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but all I'd say, it's been a hell of a privilege, a wonderful life to have had without ever having worked really hard. I've been very lucky it's come easy, but meeting fabulous people, and I guess what happens as you get older, you start to reflect on how you could have done things better, but it's been a hell of a ride.
Well, it's been a lifetime, as we say.
And a long one.
Yeah, we really appreciate you joining us on the show, Ray. Yeah. Good on you, Ray.